Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. Today, we're digging into a question that seems to be at the heart of every new gadget coming out. Are we looking for more power, or are we trying to find a little more presence? We're going to look at all the latest gear and the biggest ideas to figure out where things are really headed. All right, here's what's on the docket. We'll kick things off with the gear you can actually get your hands on. Then we'll dive into the software and AI that's changing pretty much everything. After that, we'll zoom out and look at the huge questions facing big tech. And finally, we'll peek into the future of wellness tech. Let's get right into it. First up, let's talk about the hardware. You know, the actual gadgets trying to find a home in our living rooms and in our pockets. So, thinking about a new TV, CNET's latest picks for October have something for everyone. If you want the absolute best picture, Samsung's S95F is the one, but it'll cost you. The real sweet spot seems to be that LG OLED C4, amazing value. But what's really wild is what you can get on a budget. I mean, look at TCL and Hisense, a really solid TV for under $300. That's incredible. Okay, time for a report card on the new Acer Chromebook. The Verge laid it all out, and it's a mixed bag. It gets solid Bs for the important stuff, like the keyboard and webcam. But oof, those speakers got a D. They called them crummy and muffled. So great for getting work done, but you're definitely going to want to pack some headphones. So if you're going to test a brand new camera, where do you take it? Well, you go somewhere absolutely epic. And that's exactly what a writer from Tom's Guide did. They packed up the new Fujifilm X-T50 and headed to Iceland to see if it could handle some of the most breathtaking landscapes on Earth. And here's what makes this camera so cool. It has this dedicated physical dial for what Fujifilm calls film simulations. Think of them as super high-quality photo filters that are built right in. So instead of messing around in menus, the photographer could just twist the dial, find the perfect look for a moody waterfall or a bright glacier, and get these amazing shots ready to share right out of the camera. No editing needed. This slide really hits on the main theme today. In the world of phones, we're seeing two very different paths. On one side, you've got the all-out power upgrade. Jumping from an older phone to something like the iPhone 17 is a huge leap. Buttery smooth screen, way more storage, all-day battery. But then you have the other side, the nano phone. It's tiny, it does the basics, and it's designed to help you put your phone down and avoid that endless doom scrolling. All right, we've talked about the hardware. Now let's get into the brains behind it all, the software, and of course, the AI that is just taking over everything. You know that awkward silence between songs on a playlist? Well, Spotify is trying to fix that with a new feature called Mix. One writer said it's the only reason he's keeping his subscription. It basically lets you be the DJ. You can pick exactly how songs blend together, creating this perfect, seamless flow for your party or workout. Pretty cool. Okay, time for an AI face-off. Tom's Guide put Claude 4.5 up against Gemini 2.5 Pro. The first test was a tricky logic puzzle. And the winner? Claude, hands down. It just gave this perfectly reasoned, no-fluff answer. Gemini was okay, but a lot more chatty and less direct. For round two, they had the AIs write a creative story. And guess what? Claude won again. It just built a better world, It created atmosphere and characters that really pulled you in. Gemini's story was light and funny, but Claude's just had that extra something, that hook. Seems like Claude is the one to beat for nuance right now. Speaking of AI, I want you to just take a look at this number for a second. Over 50%. What on earth could that be? Well, here it is. In 2025, AI startups are on track to get more than half of all venture capital money. Let that sink in. More than half of every dollar invested in new tech is going to AI. This isn't just a feature or a trend anymore. It's basically the entire game now. So when you have that much money and that much power pouring into one area, you're going to get some pretty big questions. That brings us to our next section, the really complex stuff, from policy to ethics. And if you want to understand just how complex, check out this quote from The Verge. They said that breaking up Google's ad tech monopoly is like going to Mars. That's how massive the challenge is for the Department of Justice right now. So here's the standoff. The government wants Google to sell off huge chunks of its ad business, but Google's saying, whoa, it's not that simple. Their experts testified that all these systems are so tangled together that trying to pull them apart would be a massive undertaking. It's a classic battle between a legal demand and technical reality. Now let's bring it down to the neighborhood level. Ever use an app like Ring Neighbors and have your post about police activity disappear? CNET figured out why. The secret is to be super specific and factual. Vague posts or political rants get taken down. But if you give exact cross streets and just describe what you're actually seeing, your post is way more likely to stay up. For our last section, we're looking at how tech is getting really personal. We're talking about our health and wellness, and it's moving way beyond just counting steps on your wrist. Peloton just shook things up in a big way. They've rolled out a whole new cross-training series of equipment. The bikes and treads are still pricey, of course, but the real story here is that the required monthly membership just went up to $50 a month. So what do you get for that extra money? Well, this is it. Peloton IQ. It's an AI-powered camera that's basically a virtual personal trainer. It literally watches your form, it counts your reps, and it even suggests what weights you should use. It's a huge step towards making personal training accessible at home. And this feels like something out of science fiction. There's a new device called the Hormometer that lets you measure your cortisol, your main stress hormone, right at home. No needles, no doctor's visit. You just use a saliva sample, scan it with your phone, and you get your results in 20 minutes. Just amazing. And that brings us right back to where we started. We've seen smarter TVs, powerful phones that want you to be more present, AI trainers, at-home lab tests. As all this tech gets closer and more personal, you have to ask yourself, which kind of upgrade actually makes a real, meaningful improvement in your life? Is it more power, or is it more present? If you enjoyed this episode, please do us a huge favor and like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching.